Hi, welcome to the Finding Harmony podcast. I'm here today with Russell Case.
Good morning, Harmony. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Yeah, thank you.
And we're joined by the beautiful Emilia Arenas.
Emilia Arenas.
We're working on our Spanish.
You're good. You're doing great.
Thank you.
You know, our guest today, Emilia Arenas, is from Bogota, Colombia, with
Yes.
two O's, not an O and a U, as is sometimes spelled in the United States. Our
Yeah.
friend Emilia teaches a morning Maestro program, I believe, was a devoted teacher at the Miami Life Center. I think that's in the past tense.
Now you're independent. You've broke off on your own.
Emilia
Yes.
I'm still in the fucking intro, Harmony. we can edit that out. Emilia is currently holding her online Mysore program where she
Misuru.
I have to finish this. I have one job, and it's to finish the intro. She keeps sharing her passion for the path of yoga, and she continues to strive to give her students the tools for a better relationship with their bodies so they can develop a better conversation about themselves and others. You know, Emilia, I have a pet peeve. Can I tell you what my pet peeve is? Every time I hear someone say the Spanish golfer Sergio Garcia, it drives me fucking insane. I fucking hate it. It's Sergio. How hard is it? Sergio, right?
So, you know how you can do it better? You can when you're gonna say Sergio, imagine the G
someone is
sounds like
choking
an
you.
H.
Yeah.
Sergio.
Yeah, I have a very close friend from Bogota. His name is Sergio. He built our couch. Sergio built our couch upstairs. He is a designer. Sergio Spinel and his lovely Colombian-Canadian bride, Catalina, and close friends. And that's how I learned how to say Sergio. And I don't think it's too hard to ask.
It's not hard
to ask people to say Sergio
The
rather than
problem is-
Sergio.
No,
It drives me crazy.
you have to relax your throat, and I think
that's what she said.
You have to relax everything. Relax your bandas.
Relax everything.
Yeah. That's my wife's passion is relaxing her bundas and her throat.
Relax your bandas.
Turns out.
Oh my god.
No, if you're passionate, Harmony is you're passionate.
Do you find that we've had this conversation before with other people who speak multiple languages, but do you find that there's like a difference in your personality or in like what you sort of who you are and how you behave depending on what language you're speaking?
Yeah, I try not to. When I speak English, of course, all this accent comes, the strong accent. And I think it changes a little bit. The personality changes a little bit because not so much anymore. But at first, when I started to try to speak English, and say, I will doubt myself so much that I would get very shy. Yes, I don't consider myself to be so shy, but when I started speaking in English, I was like, I better don't talk because in a way, also, I think I am a perfectionist. So I didn't want to say things until I was sure that it was perfect. It was perfectly said. Yeah. Until, I had, I used to go to a therapist here in Miami when I just came here, and she was Cuban. She was American, but she was born here in Miami, but she spoke a little bit of Spanish, most English, and she told me this story. I don't know. Actually, I don't know how to translate that. But anyways, she told me that her boyfriend told her to say something, to say "You're welcome," de nalgas, and when you say "You're welcome," you say "de nada." De nalgas mean like your ass, like your ass.
De naga.
So she would say, people would come to say gracias, and she would say the nalgas. The nalgas is like your butt.
Yeah. De
Oh
nagas.
dear.
Yeah.
And so she said, and from that moment on, I lost all embarrassment, and I feel that I could say anything, and I didn't care. So, so I think at some point I just got into that too. Like it's okay if I make a mistake. They need to know that I learned to speak English when I was 35.
Wow.
I wasn't young. Yeah. And
That's
also I
amazing.
learned here in Miami that it's not very easy. It's not easy to come here to Miami because you say a sentence in English and they will answer in Spanish. So
Right.
it's not.
Whoa.
Yeah. No, it doesn't matter how hard you try. They won't let you.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. I
heard-
noticed that when we
Yeah.
were in Miami. There's so much Spanish speaking.
Yeah.
I
Which
felt
make
like I needed to learn Spanish to live in Miami.
you need to get some keywords like
Yeah.
café.
Café,
Hola.
por favor. Yo quiero
Café,
un
por
café,
favor.
por favor.
Exacto.
Cerveza, por favor.
Yo quiero dos cerveza, por favor.
Cerveza. You guys are good.
Dos quiero
You guys are so good.
dos tostados.
At least we won't dehydrate if we're trapped.
Exactly. You will have your coffee in the morning.
Yeah, we'll have a morning beverage and an evening beverage.
¿Dónde está
Yes, exactly.
Mysore
Both of them.
room? Mysore. I don't know the word for room actually. Bosa. I don't know.
Cuarto.
Cuatro. Yeah. ¿Dónde está Mysore cuatro?
Cuarto.
Cuatro. Wow. I heard someone say, I think she was a stripper, not like a prostitute, but like a professional dancer.
Dancer. They call themselves dancers.
And
Okay.
she was saying that the thing about embarrassment that's so interesting is, do you allow yourself to feel bare-assed? And if you're up there on stage with a bare ass, you have to remember that the man is more embarrassed than you are, and you're the one with the bare ass. And then you just go to town. He's the one being bare-assed. Yeah.
That's an interesting play on words.
You used to dance,
It's
didn't
a
you,
good way
Harmony?
to see it.
Yeah, but not that way.
You didn't dance that way? Did you ever dance that way, Emilia?
No, I didn't, but I certainly got drunk and danced over the tables in a.
Right, and who was bare-assed
I did
then?
that too.
Not you. Everyone else is embarrassed.
Everyone,
Yeah.
my friends.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way to live.
Yeah.
I think we did a fair bit of that in Miami that's when we all met, right? We all met there in Miami, Florida,
yes.
for the Sharath tour, right?
For
And who was the most embarrassed there on the Sharath tour?
Probably me.
Probably. We found
Probably
it
himself.
unbelievably stressful being the tour stop coordinators. What was that? What was it like for you? You were a big part of that. You were really helping
you were on
out.
the team.
Can you describe what that experience is like for you?
Yeah, of course. First of all, I saw all the teachers and the team at Miami Life Center. We all got together to do something. So we had like little tasks to do, but mine wasn't that interesting. So mine was going in the morning and letting people know where the Mysore cuarto, the Mysore room was, like where to do the line, and like that was it. I didn't have. I think the most stressful part of that trip, coming the Sharath, the most stressful was having to do the intermediate serious led class every day. That was so hard.
Yeah,
100%.
And like in like three degree Fahrenheit weather.
Arctic temperature.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know that here in Miami we are very particular about the temperature when we practice. When we we are used to like, yeah, I don't know how high the master room gets, but I think it was like normally it's up the 80s.
80,
Yeah.
right?
And
Yeah.
in that room, yes, and that room was really cold for us.
Oh my
We were
God.
like,
Yeah.
it was really cold, and
Yeah.
everybody was complaining about that. And I think, yeah, that having to do the lab class in that room was the most stressful part of it.
For
Yes,
Also
I
sure.
believe
because,
it.
yeah,
I was
because
wearing at one point like my down vest, a hoodie, a tank top, a long sleeve shirt. Like it was terrible doing
exactly,
primary
and
series.
you go like the stripper taking
Yeah, yeah,
slowly
Yes,
by slowly.
yeah. I have that reputation myself for
exactly.
stripping through a Meister
Exactly.
room. Yeah, it's funny when we did it in Stanford. We kind of organized everyone in these pods. So we had a pod leader, like Robbie
Yeah.
Cavallero was the pod leader for parking, and then
Was it
Harmony
Okay. Yeah.
was a pod leader for shopping,
shopping?
and then I was a pod leader for like the mat control. Like evidently, I'm like the guy you go to when you want all the mats to be straight.
That's what Emilia was doing too.
Is that was your job?
Exactly.
Like
Yeah,
I
that
do the
was my
same
job.
thing in my house. Like I make sure everything is straight in the house. And so it was a natural transition for me to go to the Miser room and make sure that all the fucking mats were straight, or you're gonna get the fuck out of here. And so
Oh, really?
I don't
Are
know,
you
I
that
think there's
kind
like
of person?
hundreds of thousands of people that are really don't like me very much anymore because of my behavior in
Is
the
he
mat
like a mat
straightening
Nazi?
department, mat Nazi,
Yes.
which is an
Yeah,
irony from the Jew. But is so that's did you find that difficult at all? Like
No,
screaming at people to
she's
get their
so
mats
lovely. She
straight?
just asked them nicely, probably.
it's no, but I do get pissed.
Yeah.
Especially when people, yes, of course, when people start like you tell them what to do and they ignore you completely, and it's like, why?
Oh,
But yes,
don't you ignore me, young man. I
don't
will turn
exactly.
you
Don't
past
you dare!
sideways.
Don't you dare!
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, because they want to be closer to Sharath, so everybody's
Oh,
like trying to go.
Right.
Yes.
yeah.
So those kind of things is like really I can't. That pisses me off really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
keep
yeah,
meeting people, and the first thing they say, "Oh, yeah, you yelled at me in New York, or you yelled at me in LA, or you yelled at me at Stanford." It's like, "Oh, yeah, I don't remember you at all." But,
I don't remember you. It's okay. It's better if I don't remember you. It's actually better.
oh, yeah. I get really grumpy
Yeah.
about this, the master.
You don't
So
look grumpy.
and so I guess how did Tim and or was it Kim and Tino?
Tim
How
and
did
Kino.
did they organize it the same way? Did they have like pod leaders and volunteers? How did the whole thing get structured?
So they have like a main group that is the one in charge of organizing the whole thing. And yes, of course, Kim and Tino, we do that a lot.
Yeah,
No,
Kimo,
it's
Kimo,
true.
chemo.
Kimo.
yeah. So Kimo, they try to like organize. I don't know how they do it actually, but they have a group that are the main people, like the managers of the
Hmm.
tour, and then they just like delegate whatever the other people what they want people to do, you know.
Okay.
So yeah, I wasn't in the fan group. I was more in the in the workers kind of group, and I didn't get to see Sharat much as
Oh,
the managers do. So
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. This,
Yes. Well,
yeah,
there's always a
yeah,
hierarchy involved in
yeah,
these
yeah.
things.
Layers of
exactly. Yes,
importance.
I
Yeah.
I wasn't there. I
Um,
wasn't there, but it is
Right.
okay.
Peripheral.
I am okay with that. Yeah, I'm
Will
okay.
you
Yeah.
be participating again when Sharath comes to Miami in a couple
Yes,
months?
I am. It seems like
Yeah.
I applied, and
Yeah.
so yes, yeah, that's the plan. Yeah,
Okay.
and also because I feel it is very nice and pretty new for me at least that in tour he's gonna do a Mysore workshop.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
Oh, you can get postures
Yes,
that way. Oh, goodness.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I haven't been given a poster from Sharath. Um, I think he actually the only time I've been in Mysore practicing with Sharath 4 times, and
Yeah.
he actually only gave me Pashasana
Oh,
in the first trip, and then the
oh,
second nothing, and the third he gave me a lot, and the last
oh,
one nothing. So
yeah. So are you doing all of
so
intermediate now? Are you doing that?
with him,
Yeah.
no, with him I'm
No, no.
doing up to a Kapala Shishasana. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
That's surprising because I've seen
Yes.
you practice and you do advanced series very nicely.
Thank you. Thank
Mm.
you. I
Yeah.
love taking those classes with you. So the ones who have given me poses the last years has been Tim and Kino.
Yeah.
When I get to practice with them, they give me the asanas. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's nice.
Otherwise, it would have been really really hard to be doing only up to a kappa. Even though you know what, I think that's actually a good practice when we
Yeah, it's a
do
Yeah.
nice
full
practice.
primary, and then
Mhm.
it's a nice practice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can
But you can do more.
I can do more.
Can I ask? It's obviously like I always really struggled on tour with all those responsibilities, and then they ask you, okay, now go practice. And it's like I can't practice now. I can't
Yes,
go up to the front of the room and do kapotasana now after I've been 4 hours
I know.
organizing all this
Right.
shit. I
Yeah,
can't
it's
do that.
difficult.
And then on
Yes,
top of that,
standing up.
Yeah.
you have a
Yeah,
baby as well.
Well, she's a little girl now.
yeah,
You have a little girl baby now. How
yeah.
do you manage all that? How do you manage having a baby?
How old's your daughter?
She's
10?
10 right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's
that's the
10. Yeah,
Just
oh,
like Jediah.
it's
yeah.
just
1
like
year younger
Jediah.
than Jediah.
It's a
Yeah.
nightmare. How do you
It's
do it? How have you been doing it?
well, I think I actually don't know.
It's magic.
But I just do it. It's like when you start the practice and you're like, oh my gosh, it's just echoing hell, and you know that you have all the practice ahead, but you
Yeah.
just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess with that is the same. So I try to have like an organized day.
Mhm.
It's I like to have things organized so I am able to get out of the box sometimes and
Yeah.
not doing what I'm supposed to do, what I said I was going to do. But I try to have like a schedule that's been working for me. So I in the good days I wake up 4:30 in the morning. I have my coffee, and while I have my coffee, I make lunch for my daughter to put in the lunchbox,
Mhm.
and then I start my practice. So I have the time to warm up because I think like waking up and going straight to the mat, I cannot do that. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I do that, and then I wake her up. I take her to school, and then I start my classes. So what I do is I try to like keep all the classes that I teach while my daughter Maya, her name is Maya,
Mhm.
she's at school.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and then by the time she's off school, I'm finished with my work. So it's like I feel very grateful that we have this kind of job that I can actually be able to choose how to how to schedule my classes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's
Um,
it's
and
it's very difficult though. Like Harmony and I have to do the same thing. We have to take Jediah to school, then we have to fit our yoga
yeah,
practice in. We have to do 8 hours of work. This is our main
no,
lovemaking time. And then we have to record a podcast
you do a
and then pick
podcast
him up from
exactly.
school. And I have to walk the dog
And
now. And
yes,
I don't understand. Like there's like 15 hours of work to do in that 7 hour period. And I have to sleep after we make love. I can't just make love and then get up and do stuff.
Walk the dog.
My legs are tired. I can't do any of this.
Yeah,
I can't even.
you know that
No.
what they say in Colombia. In Colombia, they say that the way to know that you're getting older is because after making love or having sex, you feel sleepy. That's when you're getting older, and when you're young, after making love or having sex, you get hungry.
Ah,
so,
can you just explain
so
to me
be
first of all,
careful with
and
what
for
you
our
say.
can you just explain for our listeners at home, Martha in particular in Florida, what is the main difference between making love or having sex?
Age.
What's the
Okay.
what's the difference though?
Yes.
Because you say
Age is
or,
one.
you mean that there's a difference.
I would say there is a difference. When you can make love, so you can have sex with anyone,
Ah,
but
that's
you
okay. So when I have
only make love to the one that is very special.
right, so I can have sex with my couch,
Beautiful.
I can have sex with my Eames chair, but I can
Absolutely.
only make
If
love
that
to
makes you
Harmony.
happy.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends
Okay.
on
You can
how
have
you
sex with
manage it.
yourself.
I don't do that at all anymore. That's something that
That's how you know you're getting
since
old.
I met
One more
Harmony,
time.
I don't make love to myself. I don't
Well,
who can
it's that is a good exercise. You should.
I feel like the pornography industry collapsed shortly after I met Harmony. So
That's
they lost a
sweet.
big source of their revenue, revenue stream, just
Oh gosh.
failed. Like you saw, like the stock market for Pornhub.com like collapsed like 20%
Crash.
when Russell met Harmony. I was like, oh, we need to.
Okay, but that's good.
We need new clients, a new market.
New content.
Yeah, and they started.
New content.
They did. They started marketing more to women shortly after Harmony and I met. I did notice that.
That's so
I wonder
funny.
if you could tell us, because if you could tell us a bit about Bogota. You don't have to talk about the porn industry there. That's not what we're looking for. But
I don't know it.
Yeah.
my close friends Sergio and Kato, they're from Bogota, and I really want to visit. It sounds like a cloud city, like this beautiful San Francisco in the mountains. It's nothing at all like Romancing the Stone, the movie. It's not like that. That seems like a very hot place, but it's not like that at all.
No.
Bogota is a cloud city.
So we have no seasons in Colombia because we're in the equator line. So we have no seasons, and Bogota is on the mountain. So it is all year long. It is cold. And cold for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's cold?
Yeah, it is cold for me. I don't know. So it's interesting. When I moved to the United States, still now I have never seen the snow. So I have never seen this. I haven't experienced that cold. The cold in Bogota is a very humid. It's very humid. It rains a lot. And yeah, you're right. It's a very gray city, crazy with the traffic, and it's a little chaos in Bogota. When I think about Colombia, as much as I love my people and my family and my country and everything, the culture, when I feel about Bogota, I just don't. I don't like it. There's something in me that rejects. Yes, unfortunately.
You're happy in Miami, where it's sunny and warm.
Well, before we get to Miami, were you at all? Was your family at all affected by? I think it's FARC. Is that the
violence?
Word? Yeah, the violence, and then the Medellín. Am I pronouncing that right? Medellín. The cartel outside the city. So the way that Sergio told me is that like you were kind of like trapped in the city, and then the countryside is controlled by this other military. Is that safe to say? And when you were growing up, maybe?
When I was growing up, when I was around 20 years old, was when all the cartels and everything started to come out, and because they were trying to control the government and stuff. So we had like a war in Colombia, in Medellin. It was even worse, of course, because the most famous capo, it was from Medellin, and he had all his network was in Medellin, around Medellin.
And that was
But
Pablo
in
Escobar?
Bogota,
Is that correct?
Pablo Escobar, exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
Pablo Escobar. He was like one. He did a lot. It was crazy. And in Bogota, we had like a lot of bombs exploding all over. So you will be like watching TV. I remember being watching TV with my mom and like listening to a explosion close to your house. So we were, when I was 20, we were growing up in this fear, of going out of the streets. And so I guess like some of my memories of Bogota are not very kind or pleasant. So of
Yeah.
course I don't, it's a place that I'm grateful that I've been able to move here to United States, and like feeling safe, like when walking out of the streets, I feel safe. Bogota is, of course, nowadays is different. It's very different, but still, there's a lot of crime in the streets. Not that you won't get killed in the streets, but they will like get your phone, and if you're talking on the phone, they will come and snatch your phone, like those kind of things.
Wow.
Yeah, still that still happens.
Yeah, wow.
Well, for me, there comes like a measure of embarrassment as an American, because it's the American appetite for narcotics that drives the cocaine
Yeah.
industry, and that's especially horrible. Is that the effects of that amount of money are felt in your country now, of course, in Mexico, and before in Colombia.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so
Now it's Mexico.
it's our appetite that does it, and it's embarrassing, especially because
Yeah.
personally, like we, just as a family, we imported a lot of cocaine from Colombia just into
Oh
Detroit.
wow.
We
Yeah.
famously the largest cocaine bust in Detroit city history when I was a child, and so it's personally embarrassing, because it doesn't
Yes.
say much about the Americans, that our hypocrisy, that we're driving the appetite, but also the
Yeah. Yeah.
criminality, and so it's horrific.
It's horrific. You know that Pablo Escobar, he used to say that he was the capo. He will never get drugged. He will never consume drugs ever. I don't think he ever used to drink alcohol.
Wow.
That's how bad he knew it was that he never did it. And yeah, what
Yeah.
you're saying is very interesting. And so I read the questions that you wrote for me today, and you were saying that your friend Sergio and Catalina, they say that carrying a Colombian passport is not a good thing, and it is true.
They struggle with
It's
that
true.
Colombian passport,
It's
and yet, like, having an American
yeah.
passport should tell you, "Oh, we love cocaine, and
Yeah,
white
exactly.
people,
That's
are
exactly what I was
racist."
going to say.
But
Yes. Yeah.
no one gets that reputation when you have an American passport. But like, it's much worse
Yes.
reputation. We shoot kids with guns, at schools, like,
Yeah.
but nobody. Oh, look at this! Look at this American passport,
Yes. Yeah. 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 Exactly. Our guilt in as Colombians is that we have a good soil for cocaine. That's
That's the guilt. Yeah, yeah, good soil.
yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, but
Yes.
also
Exactly.
there's a lot of medicine that comes from that as well. It's not just
Absolutely.
it's
Yes. Yeah.
not
Like
just drugs.
exactly. Yes.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Indian. Yeah, they used to use cocaine to do a lot of stuff, like many healing procedures. So yeah.
one of the things that I learned growing up is that the American appetite. Do you want cocaine as well, sweetie? The American appetite for cocaine is not really so much the pure cocaine from Colombia, which is very nice and erotic. It's for the we would have to cut the stuff like 90% amphetamine just so that Americans would like it,
Oh my
which
God.
we
So
didn't pass the savings on to our customers. I can tell you that. 'Cause it's we would cut the cocaine as a family, I'm saying.
But
We would cut the cocaine and then raise the price, which is an irony.
Yeah. Was
it's crazy. I know.
your family at all affected by this personally?
Harmony, yes. This is one of the topics that I normally, when I think about it, it's very sad because I told you in the when I read the answers,
Yeah.
my brother died when he was 29. He was killed in Colombia. So unfortunately,
Oh.
yes, we in Colombia, many families have some story to tell about those years in Colombia. And we don't know exactly what happened, but someone came to our house and killed him, just like that.
Oh, he was
So
assassinated.
yes, it is super sad. It's super sad. And many, like not many, but some of my friends got some experiences like this. So, or people who will get uh, um, closed in a room, for a certain, I don't remember the word for that in English. They get them and put them in a place, and then they just ask for money for the rescue. I
Yeah,
forgot.
like kidnapped
Yes,
and held for
kidnap.
ransom, or
Exactly.
abducted,
Yes,
I guess, if
exactly.
you're not a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, those we in our families in Colombia, we all have some kind of story we can tell in those years. So yeah,
That's very
so
You
sad.
sad.
you
Yeah.
mentioned that, and I hope it's okay for me to say on the air like this, but you had
Yes.
mentioned that you were in AA, in Alcoholics
Yeah.
Anonymous, and I can talk about this.
Absolutely.
You mentioned that you had been you had a little bit of a drinking problem since you were young, but then after
Yeah.
your brother passed, you gave that up and you went into AA and you cleaned up, as they say. Is that fair to say?
Yes, absolutely. So I
Because
started drinking alcohol when I was very young. And my mom, she was, so I think my dad also had an alcohol problem. So when she saw the way I could drink, she told me, you definitely have a problem with alcohol and you have to be careful with that. When I was like 14 years old, but when you're a teenager, you think you know everything, and you just I went all ahead and just keep drinking until I stopped drinking when I was 25, which is very young too for the people in AA. Most of
yeah,
them were like older people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what happened is when my brother died. It was we usually my mom, my brother, and I in the apartment, and I think my mom couldn't take to see me and not being there for me. So I was already working, and I said, you know what? I bought an apartment, and I left the house. But that was, I think, when I left the house and I was by myself and I had no more control or anything to, like anyone to take care of me. It was like I hit bottom, and I remember there was a day when I was like, I cannot keep doing this, and it's so interesting because things happen so beautifully. I was like in one this of a hangover, like so bad, and a friend of mine came to my house that day, and she was like, "Listen, so I know, I don't seem like, but I have a problem with food. I eat like crazy until it's like I'm trying to hide something with the food." And she started to talk to me, and I said, "And what you're doing about it? Because it feels like you are doing something." She said, "I'm going to." It wasn't actually AA. It was NA.
oh, Narcotics
Um,
Anonymous. Yeah, yeah.
Narcotics Anonymous, exactly. And she said, why don't you come to a meeting and let's see what happens, because I feel that you also have a problem. Definitely, you have a problem. You're not happy with the way you're living your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, and I was like so open that day, because actually that day was like, please give me something, some answer, because I cannot keep living my life like this. And I
Mm-hmm.
went to the meeting, and I felt like so connected to the people, and like so welcome. And I stayed, and I stopped. I stopped right away.
Wow.
I mean, it took me like a couple of, I don't know, maybe weeks to be able to actually stop, because, I had friends who used to drink. So it was hard for me to let go of my friends and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
That's the
my
hardest part.
circle. And
Yeah.
it was really tough, that
Yeah.
part. And until I was like, I decided to just do it.
Yeah, my
And
dad
that was
said
it.
the same thing, that giving up cocaine, and I mean he also spent 4 years in prison. That also helps. But when he got out, he was
I
using
bet.
yeah, when he got out and he just said that at one point you just have to realize that the problems are not worth what you gain from the drug.
Exactly.
And I feel like
Yeah.
you can apply that perspective to just about almost anything. Like
About,
um,
yes, all the
you can
watering and all the, yes, exactly. For
you
sure.
can like the problems that you gain from overeating chocolate are not worth the experience of eating chocolate at a certain
Yeah.
point. Or and the same goes to wine,
Absolutely.
or there's all sorts of things in our life that we can appreciate this way.
Yes, absolutely. I completely agree. Yeah, yeah. You know what's very interesting? Once I started practicing yoga, and before practicing yoga, I was doing a lot of, I was teaching spinning. I used to teach spinning, so it was like a trainer,
Spinning,
a
that's the
trainer
that's the
in Colombia.
bicycle thing.
Yes.
The
You go
bicycle,
on the
exactly.
bicycle, but you don't go
I
anywhere.
yoga, do exactly. The bike doesn't
Okay.
move.
Yeah, the bike doesn't move, it spins. Okay,
You are the
yeah,
one who has to move.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So,
You just you
so yes,
move,
I was
but
teaching spinning. I was in all these workout stuff, and I forgot what I was going to say. Okay. So yes, and then I started practicing yoga, and at some point I went out with a friend, and she was drinking wine, and she said, why don't you drink a little bit? And I was like, no. It was like I was already in the program for maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 years, and I was like, no. And then I was like, and I said, you know what? Let me try. And I tried the wine,
Mm-hmm.
and I was able to stop in the first glass, and it's been like that since then. So
no.
now I am not promoting anyone who has problem in
Yeah.
stopping the
Yeah.
getting. No, I'm not trying to tell you, but that was my story. I can drink a glass of wine, even though now I don't even like it, because then I can sleep.
Yeah.
Who
So
who is our friend from the Trini Foundation? What's his name?
Taylor Hunt.
Taylor Hunt. Yeah, he described that
Taylor,
you can be he described Harmony and I, and I'm a Coke baby, and but he still described me
Coke
as
baby.
an it's true. He described me as a norm. I'm a normie because I can have a glass and then stop and not drink it again for
Yes,
another month or 2 months.
exactly.
But there are people
Yeah.
like him or Philip Seymour Hoffman who, after 20 years, if they have a drink, in 3 days they'll have burned the city down to the ground looking for more alcohol or drugs.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
a problem, and that's
It's
you
interesting
need
though.
help and
I think
support.
I think there's something though too with
Yeah.
like you're saying for a period of time you were not processing your emotions. You weren't really dealing with
Exactly.
things on like a conscious level, and instead of dealing with them you were
Yeah.
suppressing them through alcohol. And so then you did 10-12 years of personal development and you're getting in your body and, you know, feeling embodied, and then getting into the yoga and like releasing all of the stuff. And I'm assuming like going through a lot of this trauma and processing it. And so now you're, you know, you're in a very different place as a human being than you were, you know, at that time. And I feel like there's a little bit of a storyline that happens. You know, there's a line actually in an Ani DeFranco song that says, you know, if like once you're an alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic, even if you're on a desert island with no place to you know, no 3,000 miles, you know, to buy beer or something, right? Like, and there's a little bit of this storyline that this is a lifetime problem, and you can buy that storyline if you want. That's fine if that helps you. But I think you can also buy the storyline that you can heal and you can stop and you can be a creator in your life and you can make powerful decisions. And you don't need to always be that victim of your emotions, of alcohol, of drugs.
At the same time, though, if you have a serious disease, you've got a problem.
No, I'm saying there's just like different ways, and different people are going to experience it in different ways, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I talk a lot to my friend Joseph Armstrong, my colleague.
Yeah.
And we actually had this conversation. You know that he's also he's an A. I don't know what he's, but he's in this process of stopping consuming any substance. And we had this conversation, and because he wanted to do like a little meeting for people, and I was like, I can come to these meetings because I actually I drink once in a while, and I don't and I don't want people to feel that if they are not in the right path, they're gonna drink the first glass and they can stop, you know. But that is not the rule, as we were talking yesterday. That I think it is the same thing, like we were saying before, that we should not practice when we have the period. That is not a rule for everybody, you know. And that was the rule. That wasn't the rule. I remember once talking to a person who was he was my meditation teacher in Colombia, and I told him, because I was like, you know what, I feel like somehow I am like I failed the AA program, you know, and he said, no, actually, what I think you did was you went a step ahead, and you proved that you can that part of your life is healed. And then when you do, you are making choices, you do it responsibly. It's not because there is a part of you that you cannot control and just do it, but you just can you take that, you make that decision, and you make the decision also to stop when you feel it's enough. You know, that you don't have to like get drunk and break everything in the house you are to know that it's not good for you.
I have to say that also, that when I went to Al-Anon and I was attending those meetings for the adult children of alcoholics, is that I deeply resonated with the other people in the room, and I could feel a sense of camaraderie and place with those damaged people. Like, oh yeah, these are my people. We all are suffering from the inner critic and the self-doubt and the inadequacy. And yet I could see that the tenets that they were teaching in Al-Anon, they were part and parcel of what we were learning in Patanjali's yoga circle. Not listening to the inner critic, finding a way to physically treat our problem, and so that yoga is a therapy that can help develop people. And I feel like I could have spent the last 20 years in Al-Anon, or I could have, as I did, do the yoga work, which I think is helpful. Though I still feel like I struggle with dependency.
I think we
honestly.
all struggle with dependency in different ways, right? I think that's
In
just
different
part
ways.
of, in different ways. And that's part of personal growth. That's
Yeah.
part of being human. That's part of always having a practice of self-reflection, right? And introspection.
Exactly.
And if you're trying to evolve and sort of move into higher or different or, more evolved spaces,
Yeah,
I
or
think.
different.
Yeah. And I think also, like, I think what you said is really important. It's not that necessarily you need to like test out your sobriety, right? But I think, and it's not
Exactly.
like you're better than someone who can't drink and stop, right?
No,
It's not, it's
yeah.
just a different way and a different path. And I think that's,
I
it's
did
important for
exactly.
people who are really dedicated to their sobriety. That's amazing and awesome and wonderful. And for people who
Yes.
feel like I'm in another space now where I can have a glass of wine and stop, and it's not going to, take me over the edge, and I'm not going to lose my job and, yell at my kid or
Yes,
whatever,
exactly.
right? That's also
I had
fine.
it's fine. I had a little problem when I started practicing yoga, and I started to see myself in a different way, as you were saying. Like, it's all these observations and all this study of ourselves, and I didn't like the idea of me like sitting in a meeting and saying, my name is Emilia and I am an addict.
Right.
I
Yeah,
felt
it's
that
not
at some
very
I just
anonymous, is it? It's like you go
it's
into
not.
that room and you're gonna tell people, yeah, I used to sell myself for drugs, and I
It's a safe space.
I once blew a dog for a bottle of wine,
Oh my God.
but I'm not going to tell you my last name.
Yeah, exactly.
My name's
Exactly.
Russell, and I'm
Because
a fucking drunk drug addict, and I shoot cocaine in between my toes, but I'm not going to tell you my last name.
Okay.
You know my face, obviously, and you can take pictures of my face. And Russell from accounting, has sex in alleyways. But you can't know my last name. Did we lose her? Did we lose Emilia in that last bit that I cribbed from Norm Macdonald?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a Norm Macdonald bit if I ever heard
Well,
one.
it's Canada, and we all need to remember our heroes the best we can.
Yes.
So, no, but I think that's interesting, right? You weren't identifying with like keeping yourself held to this particular condition or space.
Yeah, I didn't want that. In fact, it was what I like about this, the way I started to see yoga is because that was like the first thing that happened to me, that I sat on a meeting and I said, my name is Emilia and I am an addict. And when I said that, I was just like, I don't I don't relate to this like anymore. It was very helpful, and I'm so grateful with what happened to me here, the people that I met, and all my friends they're still my friends. After 30 years, they're still my friends. And then I started like searching other things, because the AA program is a spiritual program, and you follow the 12 steps and the 12 traditions and everything. And I did it like very consciously and very like I was good at it. I did it with a sponsor and everything. And then I started searching, and I went to this Buddhist temple, and I started to go there before. That was all before yoga, and I went to. They had like these meditation meetings like every Tuesday or whatever, and I'll go there. And there was this guy. He was a monk who came, and he was giving us a talk, and he said, the only path that you can take to be enlightened is this one. And I listened to it. I was like, but who told you that I want to get enlightened? I don't want to get enlightened.
Yeah,
I just
that
wanted
part's
to,
unnecessary.
but no, yes, exactly. Yeah, I was like, I just want to find myself and try to connect in a better way with myself and having a better conversation, as like in the introduction. I want to have a better conversation to myself so I can relate to others better. But I don't know if I that's like far away, like thinking about getting enlightened. So
Yeah.
it didn't work out either
You can't work.
until I found yoga, and
That's the
it
end
didn't
of the
work out.
story. It didn't work out with the Buddhist.
Yes,
I
I never came back. Yeah.
I understand that you started out in, maybe it was Bogota, I'm not sure, maybe it was Miami. You were working for a stockbroking company, and then
Yeah,
you
in Bogota.
left that to go into yoga, which seems like a really bad idea. I would rather like to do the opposite. If I could get into stockbroking, get out of this yoga racket, I would jump at the chance. Do you
Really?
have any
You probably
connections still? Do you know anybody that needs an art major in their stockbroking company? Somebody
could. You
that,
just
I
have to
don't.
be able to sell stuff.
yeah, I'm not good at that,
Yes.
but I can make bets with my gut. I think Tesla
No.
stock is going
Yes.
down. I don't know.
It's
I heard
just
something about
I
that.
don't know. I just feel that I can't. I am not good at selling for sure. Like
Yeah. Are you good at that?
She said no.
You're not good at that. So no,
no, I
stockbroking
am not.
isn't for you.
Yes,
So
I am not.
what do you have your own, what do you do now that's better than being a stockbroker? I can't imagine.
Everything, every single thing. I am not making money. I am not making money though.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
like that much.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, but I mean, no, it's just like going in like every single day, putting the heels on and the suit on and going to the
Oh,
office,
you must
and
have looked
all these people, they
fabulous.
were like, really? Oh no, 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 no. And it just so I went to college and I studied finances. That was what I
Uh,
studied in Colombia. And so, of course, the natural path was working for a broker
Mhm.
company, and so, but I just couldn't like relate to the people. Like I couldn't believe that people, because my I know this can sound funny, but I wanted to help people, like if they
Yeah.
wanted to come. So for example, I had old ladies who come to me and they wanted to invest their money, and I really wanted to help them.
Yeah.
And yes, and at some point there was someone telling me, you are doing good for them, but you're not doing good for yourself.
Yeah.
Because they're making that. So that's what I couldn't. I was like, I cannot do this. I just, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't. It doesn't make sense that you have to put yourself first. I
Mhm.
mean, it does make sense, but it wasn't what I wanted. Let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
were your parents into finance, or were they yoga teachers? Because that might explain it.
No. So my dad, he was a pilot.
Okay,
Oh.
So
you could
no,
have done
nothing to do
that.
with that.
You could have done.
Yes, I could. Yes, I couldn't do that. And my mom, I mean, she married when she was 19, I guess. So
Mhm.
she didn't really like went to college to study anything. But so when I was little, she was working for a Colombian airline. So but in the front desk in the airports, at the airport.
Yeah.
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 Okay, that's how
So
Like
they met.
check-in
yeah.
check-in
So
Yeah.
people.
yes, checking people exactly. But she had these crazy, crazy schedules. And
Yeah.
so she would leave the house at 4 a.m. and come back at like 11 a.m. Like she had this crazy,
Mm.
or going out to work in the middle of the night, and
Yeah.
like it was crazy. So no, yeah,
Quite
she
quite a
wasn't
bit
doing
like
any.
waking up at 4:30 in the morning to do yoga. It's a
Yes, exactly. Yes,
yeah. Okay.
it's a little, yes, exactly.
All
Yeah,
right.
trying to repeat that.
Do you recognize yourself in her? Can you see that you are your mother's daughter? Like, and can you imagine her doing Ashtanga yoga and doing what you're doing?
Well, I actually the way I found yoga was because of my mom. She started practicing yoga. There was a little yoga studio right in front of her house, and she started practicing there. And one day she told me, you are doing all this spinning and lifting weights and all that. Why don't you come here and do something that is more like it's softer in your body?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And I went to the class and I fell in love with the class like right away.
Nice.
Yeah,
What
so that's
kind of
how
yoga was it? Was it a soft
it was hatha yoga.
hard? It was hatha yoga.
It was hatha yoga, yeah. So it's interesting because the teacher who's now practicing Ashtanga in Colombia, he was the son of someone who had been a student of Indra Devi. So it's like somehow, yes,
Right.
yeah, in Argentina.
Eugenie Peterson, the Russian Jewess. Yeah.
She was teaching in Argentina, was it?
She taught all over the world, yeah. LA,
really?
Yeah, she was Gloria Swanson's teacher, and
but I think she had the biggest following in, I think it was Argentina.
Wow, yeah.
In Argentina. Okay. I think she moved at the end of her life to Argentina or spent some time in Argentina.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I would have moved to a country with more hot sauce, to be honest. Some country that actually, like Chile. Chile has a hot sauce and a very nice flavor profile. Argentina has like a lot of beef with no like even steak sauce to go with it. And it's really not what I imagined.
But Buenos Aires is beautiful. It's a beautiful city.
Very beautiful. But I had to bring my own hot sauce around wherever I went. I had to buy Tabasco.
That should not be a problem.
Is there hot sauce in Colombia?
Colombia is
not
beautiful
really.
food.
Not really.
Food.
See, no hot sauce.
But it has a beautiful food. It's very sophisticated.
Yeah, but it is not spicy. The food is not spicy. It's we have a lot of. I don't remember how many kinds of potatoes we have. There's like 100 or something kind of potatoes. Yeah, yes. So there is a lot of potato dishes, of course. There is one that is very typical in Bogota. That is called ajiaco. Yeah. Ajiaco con pollo. That is like a soup, like a stew with like 3 or 4 kind of potatoes and chicken. I know, it's so heavy.
No one's worried about carbs there.
Yeah, no.
No. When I go to Bogota, they always want to invite me to have ajiaco, and I'm like, no, thank you. I am vegetarian now. I don't want to eat that. And they're like, no. We do it without chicken.
The soil must be very good for garlic, though, if it's good for cocaine. It must be, with all of that moisture and humidity in the air, maybe.
It's good for potatoes. We know that.
Good for garlic, right?
You can at least
add garlic to the food.
I think you could probably grow anything there.
Yeah. Anything for real.
The equator climate is always good for growing things.
Maybe garlic is better for a dry climate.
Because we have everything.
Who is our friend in California? Brenna lives out there in garlic
in California,
country.
There's
very
a lot of garlic.
Dry and flat.
British Columbia has a lot of garlic too, though. I think you need a little bit of rain.
What is that? What is that garlic capital of the world that Brenna lives in?
I don't know.
She doesn't live there.
I don't know about the garlic.
Gilroy,
garlic capital, really dry and flat. Okay. Wow. So you left the stockbroking and you found happiness and personal training.
And then somehow you got into Miami.
But how did you get to Miami? That must be very difficult to just move to Miami.
Yeah.
No. So I did it in like steps. It wasn't like in one trip. I did it in steps. So I was teaching Pilates.
Yeah.
Pilates. And it was so funny. So I had this student who she read my astrological chart.
Mm-hmm.
She wrote it, and she said, you know what, you need to move out of your country. You need to, like, it shows that you will have success somewhere else, but you
Mm-hmm.
have to leave. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do that, because teaching spinning and Pilates is not, it doesn't seem like I can move anywhere.
Yeah.
And then, like a couple of weeks later, she called and she said, you know what, I have a friend uh, who is opening a Pilates studio in Miami, and he's here in Bogota, and I want you to meet him.
Oh, it
And
was
I
a
was like, okay,
con. So the astrologer was conning you
No.
yes,
into moving to
exactly.
Miami. It's a long con.
I lo- it is a
Wow.
long time. So it was amazing. And so I met the guy. And you know what? I was planning a vacation in Miami, because I used to like to come here to Miami and go take classes and go to, yes, actually to go to practice yoga and everything.
Yeah.
And I said, yes, I met him, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to Miami. Maybe I just can go and see your students. Who were like, yeah, come. And maybe you can make a little money, teach some classes. And it's, okay.
But
So
surely
that's how I
Miami
came
is
to
like the
Miami.
last place a Colombian can come and just make money illegally. Like that's like there's got to be like
it, it is
one
actually the
customs
first
guard
first
whose like
choice.
whole job is to stop the Colombians from coming to Miami to make money.
Yes, I was just one more,
Just one
one of
more.
more of
The
those.
flood of Colombians coming into Miami. Okay, all
So you
right.
came on
Oh my gosh,
vacation, and then did you teach some classes?
I came. I came on vacation, and he
It's
finally opened the studio, because you know how the
so
permits and everything.
sketchy.
Mhm.
It was everything delayed. It was all delayed, and all the teachers canceled. So he had no teachers
Oh
to start
wow.
the studio.
Oh dear.
Yes, and that's how I came. And I came with my boyfriend at that time. He was a Pilates teacher too,
Mhm.
and he was like, "Okay, guys, just this all the class. You can teach all the classes."
Wow.
And we stayed. Yeah, we stayed.
God.
That's how we stayed. Both of us. Yeah,
And then you
And
were able to like get a
yeah,
visa and just
that doesn't
stay in
yes.
Miami.
seem possible.
I am one more of those who married and got the visa. But I
Oh,
did.
Ah.
But I
I
did
think
for
maybe your
real. I married. Yeah.
boyfriend wasn't American though.
No, that wasn't. That was Colombia, but that wasn't the one that I married.
Okay, yeah, I
So
see. I
I came
see.
here and I met.
Wow.
I met
There,
my
yeah.
ex-husband. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything worked
I don't
out.
know how much of this we want on tape, to be honest.
It all worked out in the
It all
end.
worked out.
Then,
Yeah. Okay.
yes.
And then
No,
did you
I wasn't
how
illegal for long.
oh geez. That's exactly what I didn't want you to say. But Tim moving swiftly on. Tim and Kino, were they your first Ashtanga teachers? Is that how that happened? You walked into their class by
No,
accident?
no. So what happened is let me think. I came on vacation before all that to visit my friend
Yeah.
who had just moved here. And she said, you need to. I already was practicing yoga, but I was doing this hatha yoga. And
Mhm.
she said, I'm taking these yoga classes. Let me take you, because I think you're going to love it. And I was like, okay. And it was my birthday. And she was like, I'm going to give you a 10 class pass. And I went, and the class was Ashtanga.
Mm.
And I mean, yes, it was like, because I was already like looking for something that I could like mix work with the body and with the mind,
Yeah.
the breathing. So I got into this Ashtanga class, and I was like, this is it. I found it. And so I did the 10 class pass, and then I came back to Colombia. Of course, we didn't have any Ashtanga teacher over there. And then finally I found one who moved from Mexico, and he was an Ashtanga teacher, and I started practicing with him. But I was like, basically like, it was my practice. It was Ashtanga. I stopped doing everything else. I stopped doing vinyasa classes and all that, and was just doing Ashtanga. And then I moved to Miami to work at this studio,
Mhm.
but that was before Kino and Tim opened the studio. And so I had some money that I made at the studio, and I was like, I have this dream of going to India. and everybody was super supportive and like, just okay, go to India. And I left. I went to Mysore without
Wow.
writing a letter, I didn't know that you had to apply. I was like, I'm just gonna show up.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I went to the Shala, and they were in tour. There was Sharath Jois and Sharath, they were all in tour.
Right.
And so I was like, okay. And I was right in the Shala, like, what am I going to do? And I found another teacher,
Yeah.
and I practiced with him. And when I was there, I was like complaining because I was like, you know what? I haven't been able to find a teacher in Miami. And then someone come and told me, Kino McGregor is opening a studio soon.
Mhm.
Right.
And I came back to Miami, and they opened the students. That's how I met them, and that's
Cool.
like yeah.
Who did you
Yeah.
practice with in Mysore?
No, I didn't practice with them in Mysore. I practiced with this teacher that is Sheshadri.
Oh,
Sheshadri.
Sheshadri.
Yeah.
Yes,
Nice guy.
He's the
Sheshadri, yeah.
backbending.
That's Venkatesh.
Oh, that's Venkatesh.
He
yeah,
was
Sheshadri.
yes, exactly. Crazy,
Yeah.
crazy,
Sheshadri's
crazy,
Crazy
adjustments.
overflow.
Crazy adjustments.
Sheshadri.
Yeah, he gives. I had friends that would go and just practice with him. They liked his classes the best because they were smaller and more
Crazy
intimate.
adjustments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess I
Because
never
we needed
got
more
to see
intimate
the
adjustments.
except not anymore. Not anymore.
Oh, right. No one's adjusting intimately anymore. That's just
That
our
intimate.
halcyon youth. The good old
Yes.
days.
That's amazing.
Oh
So,
my
yeah.
Mm.
So you kind
Yeah.
of all arrived
Yeah.
in Miami at the same time.
Yes, exactly. It was like I feel that in this coming to Miami and moving from Colombia to Miami, everything, like really the universe conspired for me to do everything, to find like every little piece fall into place for me to come here and do, I guess, do what I'm doing right now, I guess.
Do you date
Uh,
much? Do you get to go out on dates?
Russell's very concerned about your love life.
No, I really am. I hate to see anything
Okay,
wasted.
I do not date.
Okay. All right. Well,
I've tried.
the 1% of our
tried.
listeners that are male, listen up. Mm.
Male in Miami.
Mm.
Maybe
Yes.
Martha
No,
knows
I'm
someone.
open.
He's in
I
Tallahassee.
am open to have like a long distance relationship. That sounds like an amazing option for me.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Yes.
It
you're
can be
not
very
gonna-
romantic.
You're not going to hit the G spot in a
Yes.
long distance relationship. That's
Yeah,
very
you
far
just
away.
travel.
All right.
No, exactly. He can come visit, and
Yeah.
Are you looking for
and we have
Colombian
fun,
men,
and he lives.
Latin men, Swiss men? Like, what are you looking for?
We're putting out a roll call as some kind of like
Chilean
auditions.
auditions. Yeah.
Yes, I don't wanna close my mind and the doors for
Yes,
dating.
yes, okay.
Tall
Yeah.
men, wide men. What are we?
We'll just have people send their audition tapes to you.
Audition tapes?
We'll leave.
Okay. Thank you. I love it.
Jesus Christ.
I like tall guys though.
You do like the tall
Okay,
men.
all right.
Harmony never cared for
Yes.
tall. Interesting. She prefers a wide
I'm
Man.
quite short though. How
Yeah.
tall are you, Emilia?
5'3",
I think I'm as tall as you, 5'4", I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
little tall, couple inches.
I wanted to ask because whenever you talk to Colombians, they all seem to know each other, and you should bring up other Colombians in conversation because they all know each other. Do you know Monica Wagenberg in New York? She's in charge of the Latin Film Festival there. She's a Colombian woman.
She's Colombian?
Yeah, anyway, we
No,
used to date.
I'm-
That's all. I just thought.
Oh my
I
god.
thought I'd mention another
okay.
Colombian that I knew.
I don't know
You
her.
probably know her.
That's like when people say to me,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're Canadian? Do you know my friend so and so
You
in
don't-
Toronto?"
Yeah, but if you
No.
probably do know Paul and
Like,
Rochelle in
no,
Toronto,
not
you probably
really.
do know them. That's probably right. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like a very big country.
yeah, but they all know each other.
Yes, that's,
You have
it's
to
a huge
understand.
country. Bogota has 6 million
Wow.
people now.
Yeah, see,
Or more. I
Chicago
think it's
has 6 million people.
more.
I know everyone in Chicago.
No,
If
you don't.
If you mention Jim McManus,
Not everybody.
yeah, I know Jim. Sure, of course I
Amazing. So tell us what are you doing now? Now are you teaching only online? Or are you teaching in person too?
No, so I am teaching mostly privates. It's
Okay.
like that's what I'm doing.
Nice.
Yeah. When I decided to stop working at Miami Life Center, and I had this conversation with Tim, I actually didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew that I needed to do something different.
Yeah.
It's been like I worked for them for 15 years, so it's like this is
A long
about time
time.
for me to do my. Yeah, it was a long time. It was. I'm very grateful. I have to say
Yeah.
to them that they gave me the opportunity to teach and everything. And now at some point I was like, okay, I also because I wanted to teach in a different way, like keeping the Ashtanga like as a Ashtanga as a foundation, but I wanted to open up a little bit to help people in a different way, you know. So I quit, and I was like, now what? And I I wrote a post in on Instagram saying like I'm gonna teach private classes, and some people wrote to me, and I like fill up the schedule. That's what I'm doing right
Perfect.
now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And that's great. And I have a training. It is, we cannot call it teacher training, but it's like an intensive in Spanish that we're gonna do
Oh,
with a friend of
beautiful.
mine in Medellin. Yes, she has a yoga studio in Medellin, and we're gonna do it over there in person too.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Sometimes you can meet men by sleeping with your students. Do you ever do that? Do you ever think about the men that you train?
She probably trains mostly
You know,
women.
But occasionally you're
yes,
going to get a
like
male.
91% are women.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, think
Yes.
about it, and
Yeah.
because it is a nice way to meet men
Oh my gosh.
if you sleep with the male ones.
I'm really
I mean,
curious.
The reverse is
Okay,
true for
okay.
men. When men have female students, that's a way for
That's a
them to meet.
no-no.
But it is a way for them to
And
meet
it's a no.
women.
No,
No, because then
Any
I lose a student.
yes,
this
exactly.
I lose
world
a
is
student.
No.
changing
Yes.
under my feet, is what it
It's
seems like.
already gone. It's changed.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we can change the pattern here. Also, I'm gonna tell you something, Russell.
Uh-huh.
I am not really much into yogis anymore.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good plan.
Oh, what is it about
Yes,
yogis that
yes.
you don't like?
Oh my gosh,
Men.
especially the Ashtangis are they get crazy with the food and with the diet, with the schedule.
And the
And I'm like,
menstruation.
now I want to be. Yes, it's like it's too much.
It's too
They're too
much. You just want
strict.
like a
I
normal
want
guy.
to be a little flexible.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. A normal guy that respects my
Maybe
path.
has like
Let's
some
say.
kind of spiritual practice or self-development, like
Exactly.
The irony
Yes,
is that they
that's
are a
important.
little flexible. That's the
Yes.
thing. It's
Yeah.
like they are.
Yeah, a little
That's what
flexible. Exactly.
mentally
Good
quite
plan.
inflexible. Yeah.
Again, audition tapes. We'll leave the address. If someone's interested, they can DM me.
Every man
I'll put
will
you
be
in touch.
interested, sweetie. That's the
Oh
thing.
my God. Thank you so
Just
much.
check out the photo that we
Thank you both.
insert.
Okay. Joking, not really joking, but playfulness aside.
Yeah.
What were some of the ways that you want to change your teaching? I'm so curious.
Oh, right. Forgive me.
Yeah. So, so let's say, for example, I have two students right now that they're about my age,
Mhm.
and so what I've been doing with them. So one of them, for example, she has a lot of joint pain because of she's going through menopause and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So we had to adjust the sequence.
Mhm.
Like, let's say she doesn't do as many vinyasas, and we do some changes, we do some extra poses, and like
Yeah.
we get out of the road.
Yeah.
And I feel that is something that I had, like I wouldn't been able to do working at any Ashtanga studio. So we have like this little class where we work together. And my idea is like eventually we go back to the sequence, but in the meantime,
Yeah.
If she needs, the other one, for example, she needs to open the hips. So we have been working a lot of hip openers.
Yeah.
And yeah, like those kind of things. It's not, I love Ashtanga. And as I told you before, I want to keep that as a foundation for my teaching and for, of
Yeah.
course, for my practice. But I want to do some changes if it's needed, you know?
Totally.
It's just that. Yeah.
That was always my favorite part about running a Mysore room and owning the studio is I could kind of do whatever I wanted.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. That was in my studio, and like, yes, exactly. That's exactly my point. I want to be respectful.
Yeah, and then you can also like work with the student that you're working with and adapt the practice for that student. For me, I always felt like that was the way the practice should be taught. Like, let's work with whoever's in front of you, right?
Absolutely, exactly. For example, I don't follow the rules of if you are not binding in Marichasanadi, you cannot continue. You know, like now I am able to do things that I think they're good for my students.
Yeah.
And without hurting anyone's feelings.
Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful.
Oh, that was like my whole yoga career was like just hurting people's feelings. That's like the whole. That's how it could be described.
We do somehow.
Yeah, the whole of Russell Case, yoga teacher, hurt my feelings.
Yes, I don't want to do that.
No, it's so important though. We were talking about this before we got on about the bio-individuality of people and like women being able to like make decisions for themselves, and as female teachers really empowering female students to like own their body and own their choices and not to like make these big broad stroke rules like women can't practice if they're pregnant or for the first 3 months, or they can't they have to take the 3 months after they give birth off, or different things like that. And have you ever had any experiences where you felt like you were being discriminated against in some way just for like being female?
Listening to your body.
Listening to my body, exactly. So it's very funny because when I was pregnant, while I was pregnant, I practiced throughout the whole pregnancy.
Yeah.
Having my ex husband, he's an amazing guy, and like it's good. We're good friends. But he's an Ayurveda practitioner.
Okay.
So he was very against me practicing. Like every day I'll go to practice. It was like a struggle. Even though I was like tell him, you know what, I feel so good right after I practice.
Yeah.
That just let me be free and do this. So that was like the first struggle was while I was pregnant. Like really, I'll just, because I had all this morning sickness, I'll go to practice and I'll feel just perfect afterwards. But he didn't understand. He was always trying to control that. And then afterwards, I decided to, like, I had my baby, and then I didn't practice for 6 weeks, but it wasn't because I didn't want to practice. It was because I was so tired of not sleeping.
Of course.
I couldn't actually practice.
Yeah.
And then after 6 weeks, I started practicing, and I'll go and do like primer series and whatever. And then one teacher came to do a workshop, and I think it was like 2 months after giving birth, but it was something like that.
Yeah.
And I had lost my packets. I couldn't come back up from the drop packs.
Yeah.
And then, so we did Mysore, and I did the whole practice. Yeah. When I finished the practice and I was about to do my drop packs, I told her, you know what, I can drop up, but I cannot come back up. And she said, and I told her I just had a baby, and she was like, how old is your baby? Like 2 months. And she was like, oh, no. I don't allow anyone to come to practice after 3 months after of giving birth. And I was like,
sorry,
okay.
I was mistaken. It was the baby's 4 months.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say.
It's like, I'm sorry, no. It's 4 months. It's my English,
Spanish,
I get confused.
And so you got kicked out of the workshop.
And I was like, okay, so what should I do? And she was like, no, don't practice. I don't allow you here. And I'm like, not even, and I thought, not even for the money.
Right.
You don't want my money.
Yeah.
So,
Like, can I get a refund?
I left them. Yes, exactly. I got the refund, and I called Kino, and she was like, "Oh, no, you come and practice with me. Don't worry." Because I mean,
Yeah.
she saw the whole process, and
Yeah.
But no
and
one,
what's very fun, very interesting is that the teacher who kicked me out of the workshop, she doesn't have kids. So,
no children.
you know that she has experience in her own body.
But
No one ever-
Kino was fine with you practicing. She said, "Oh, you just come practice."
Kino
That's nice.
was super supportive throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like
That's
the
good.
whole thing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No one
Yeah.
ever tells me what to do. Like, I'm, whether what part of the month I'm having, like my
true.
testosterone is high, or
Exactly.
I've
Yes,
been
exactly. Or it's low.
I've been using my penis for whatever, and nobody says you can't come in today. Nobody ever says one word boo to me.
No, I know, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I know. And
Mm.
I mean, yeah, it's good to have a teacher, to have a guidance,
Yeah.
but like a loving guidance. I'll say that to someone who, because that's how important is a relationship between the teacher and the student. Is not the teacher is like a dictator, like says what to
Mhm.
do and what not to do, but it's like we work in a team. So it's like, if we talk about the things and make it work that way, but it's not like one person saying what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's so interesting. I had a very similar experience when I was pregnant, that I would have terrible morning sickness. But then when I would practice, it was like the only time that I felt good in my body.
Yeah.
And then I'd feel
Yes,
good for like a
exactly.
little while after, take a nap, and then like as the day went on, I'd keep feeling kind of like worse and worse and worse. And then the morning I'd wake up, I'd feel terrible. Then I'd go practice and I'd feel good again.
Yes, exactly. Or you will feel not so good, but I was like, at least I practiced. At least
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to practice. Yeah, yeah.
I had a friend in San
Yeah.
Francisco who told me that it was actually like the 2 days before her menstruation, she would feel terrible and not want to practice. But then when her menstruation started, it felt amazing to work out and to work the body. And
Yeah.
for her, it was just a very, that's what worked. And you can't say one size fits all.
I think it's very interesting
No.
too, like how the body responds to hormones, and everybody's going to respond maybe a little differently, right? Like to different
Absolutely.
fluctuations in those hormones.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I used to practice while I had my period, and like as I told you, I was always good. And now I am going through. This is gonna maybe scare my potential boyfriends, but it is okay.
Oh yeah.
Just that
Listen
they
up,
know.
guys. Open mind.
So I'm going through perimenopause. I'm not in menopause yet, but I'm through it. And now is when I am actually feeling all the changes. Like before, so let's say 2 years ago, I was fine. I was like, working out and like doing my practice, and I was fine. Like I never had any problems or anything like throughout the month, even though you feel the change. But now is when I feel super tired. I feel there is like I've kind of lost a little bit of the motivation. It's like I wake up and I'm like, oh my god. But I know all this hormonal is like it's part of this process.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
I need a T-shirt that says "Low T." I mean, Mr. Low T would be my new nickname. Yeah,
So we're
that would be helpful.
Low E.
Mr.
Mrs.
Low E. Yeah.
Low E.
Might get some gold chains, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think that's such an important point, though, is like really, at different stages, different phases of your, life, your hormones, all the different changes that women go through. It's just really important to like kind of honor your body and listen to them. And maybe before
Absolutely.
it didn't feel right to rest, but maybe now it really does feel right to rest.
Yes, exactly. So exactly. Right now is when I feel like I sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I can't, because
Yeah.
also my daughter, she's not a good sleeper. She has never been. So
Yeah.
she goes to bed really late.
Yeah.
And that keeps me up. And so
Yeah.
when I wake up in the morning, I feel that I need like 2 more or 3 more hours of sleep,
Mhm.
which before, like 2 years ago, I could have just wake up and do my practice even with full sleep, but now I cannot do it.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
So I just, yeah, exactly. I've been like trying to listen to my body.
Yeah.
It hasn't been easy though, I have to say.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, what's going on with you, lady? You go ahead and do your practice.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, but
I'm really
yeah.
proud of Harmony is that she now scheduled in our calendar 2 p.m. is nap time. And it's really nice. So I have to go into
That's so
the
beautiful. I love
bedroom
it.
and I'm still like working on my phone and doing stuff. And then she lies on my chest. That's the only way she can fall asleep. I go and I lie there. It's like my job. It's scheduled at 2. I lie in the bed and then she lies down on top of me. And then she falls right to sleep and she's snoring. I can't nap because she's such a fucking loud with the resonating snores. And then she gets her nap in, and I think it's done wonders for her health, to be honest. Really good.
But that's
Really
part of
proud.
being a couple, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, I make a sacrifice,
you-
but she is sacrificing
good.
work time
Yeah.
because she will work herself to the bone. She is like what do you call those people who are addicted to work?
Workaholics.
Workaholics.
A
You know, the
workaholic.
people that will
Yes.
sell themselves sexually on the street for work. That's Harmony. Harmony will sell herself for sex
that's a
to
different thing.
get work.
That's a
Oh my
different
To
thing.
get more work. That's what she'll do. Yeah.
Oh,
She's
Harmony,
out there
I need to
walking
pick
the
up that
street
project.
Just like hire
looking
me.
looking for work. It's like, I will have sex with you if you give me work to do.
Give me a job.
It's a workaholic, I think, is what they
That's a
call
job.
it. They call it a workaholic. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we've gone from like strippers to addicts to prostitutes. It's been a whole like
This is yes.
like a special
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Colombian edition of the
Who would
Finding
have
Harmony
sex with
podcast.
me and I will do your tax returns?
Drug dealers.
I will do a spreadsheet. I'll spread all kinds of things.
Oh
It's
my
really
gosh.
just to give me a little bit
but
more
you know,
work because I am an
in
addict.
my defense, in our defense, let's say for our podcast,
Mhm.
that I have to say this. That I had a lot of problems when in the spiritual paths when people. So let's say I used to go in Colombia to these meetings that we will like prayer.
Mhm.
It was like prayer meetings, and they will say that they will see Virgin Mary coming to them and angels and stuff, and
Yeah.
like no, and I'm like I don't see anyone here. And then like in meditation, people say like I can hear like sacred sounds, and I can see lights, and I can see,
Yeah.
and I never saw anything of that, any
Yeah.
of that. And what I find that is very like what keeps me doing yoga is like I don't deny that can happen, but I think what is that I can work with what I have right now. I don't have to look for anything else. I work
Mhm.
with this is all the resources to work on are here in my
Yeah.
body.
Totally.
So I don't need to find any lights or angels or sacred sounds to find like a spiritual growth,
Yeah. Totally.
or to feel special.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
so
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's so it's true. It's very Buddhist actually, right? Working with reality as it is and just
Yeah.
as it
being
is.
present to what's arising and what's passing away and not trying to make something be there that's not, and
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
paying attention
exactly.
to
That
all
is not.
the bells and whistles going on.
Yes.
Just be with
Maybe
reality.
now after like 20 years, you could go
Exactly.
back to the Buddhism and it might work for
Yeah,
you
maybe.
in like small little
Maybe.
tastes
Who
of it.
knows?
Yeah.
Yes.
Little
Who knows?
sips of
Maybe.
Buddhism
I
might
think
help
her
you.
problem wasn't that it was the Buddhism. It was that he said it was the only path to enlightenment.
You can just do
Only
2 or
path.
3 lines
Exactly.
of Buddhism a day and you'll be fine.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy with my yoga right now. So,
Okay. All right.
Well,
yeah,
It's a gateway drug to Buddhism, though. Be careful.
exactly. Yes.
Tell our listeners where they can find you, especially if they want to look you up to do a private online or anything like that. How can they get a hold of you?
Absolutely. So my email, they can always reach me out. My email is emilia.ashtangi at gmail.com.
Yep.
At gmail.com.
Yes.
Okay.
And what's you have a website too.
Yes. I don't have a website that's up to date right now, but it's Instagram. Always is Emilia _Ashtanga Ashtanga Yoga. Yeah.
Okay.
Very nice. We'll put all of that in the show notes for people to find it, and we'll link it as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This was super
Thank you so
fun
much.
chatting with you.
It was so much fun. I thought you had to prepare like a big, like a big talk and everything. I'm so happy that it was this relaxed and this fun.
Yes.
You two gave me a long rope. I'll give you that much.
We gave you too long a rope. You probably hung yourself with it several times.
Sure, on my own, hoisted on my own petard.
I love it.
You made me want to come to Miami just to visit you.
I want to go to Bogota.
Please come. Come. You guys, you want to go to
Yeah.
invite you.
I have friends there.
One day we'll make it down to Miami
I'd like
again.
to go. Yeah.
It takes so long to get there.
Sharath?
No.
Yes.
We were not.
No,
we were
you're not coming to
specifically not invited.
They said everyone can come but you.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. We got a letter saying "Do not come."
You do not come.
It's not true.
You're busy.
Just timing's difficult. Timing's
okay. Okay.
And
but anyways, whenever you feel like coming to Miami, please come. Please come.
Yes, next time we're in Disney World, we'll look you up.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But we would there'd be a hush in the room as we walked in. Like,
oh gosh.
Him.
No.
No.
I'm sure it'll be wonderful. I'm sure it'll be a wonderful time and so nice to meet with all of the community and see all